To get going with this, you need an image that you want to animate. So I have this coffee cup image here that I'm going to animate. And the first thing that I'm going to do, if this layer is locked, go ahead and unlock it and then duplicate that layer. Okay. Now, I have the visibility off, the eyeballs off right now, but I have this tie-dye layer in here that I'm actually going to drop into this coffee cup to make it actually look like a tie-dye coffee. Okay. Now, you could choose a couple of different things to animate, but we are going to animate just one section of an image. Okay. So, what we are going to do to get started is we need to select the area that we want to animate. So there's a couple different ways you can do this. You can use the marquee tool, so the rectangular marquee tool or the elliptical marquee tool. So for this one, the elliptical marquee tool will work really well for me. So I go in because it's rounded, but a lot of your shapes might not be. But notice I couldn't get that to fit entirely. So what you need to do next to fit the entire space is go select, transform selection, and now you can actually position that so that it fits the size that you want. Okay, so once you have that done, go ahead and press enter. Okay, so then we're ready to move on to the next part, okay? But I'm going to show you another way here. So I'm just going to do Command D. So let's say you just wanted this little heart shape to be selected. If I were to do that, this tool would not work. The rectangular marquee tool would not work. So you could come here and use the lasso tool and actually just free draw around it like this. When it's connected, you still have the same thing. So I'll just go ahead and leave this piece right now and show you what we're going to do next. So now what I'm going to do is on top of this layer, I am going to put in a layer mask, which is this button right down here next to the FX layer style. So I just click this and notice nothing happens except for this little piece right here, which is okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this tie-dye layer, I'm going to put that on, and I'm going to right-click on that layer and do Create Clipping Mask. Now that tie-dye layer goes into this heart shape. So once you have that done, you want to make sure that this object here is a smart object, which mine already is, but if it's not, what you're going to do is you're just going to right-click and go Convert to Smart Object, okay? So that's going to be important for this next step. So now we are ready to animate. So we need to make sure that we go to our Window, Workspace, Motion. Now, my timeline did not show up, so I need to go to Window and make sure that timeline is checked on. So now, if yours comes up like this, before we were using Create Frame Animation, this time we want to use Create Video Timeline. So make sure that one is selected from the drop-down box, and then just go ahead and click it. So now it has my 3 layers that are in here on kind of this video timeline. Now, the part that you want to move is the only part that you are going to be focusing on. And in this case, I only want my tie-dye layer to move. So let's go ahead and let's put these all to 15F. So that's like frames, okay? So I'm going to shorten that up a little bit. And I'm going to drop down here on this first layer, ignore these bottom ones down here, and press the transform tool here, okay? This is called a keyframe animation. So I'm going to press this and notice that it's added a little yellow diamond there. So now what you are going to do is go ahead and do Command T. And each time you want something to move, so here I'm going to keep this like this. So I'm going to go ahead and press this next frame, and notice it moved over just a little bit, but I'm going to do Command T, and I'm going to rotate it. Okay, then I'm going to press Enter. As I pressed Enter, one of those little keyframes, the diamonds, stayed there. So I'm going to continue that, go to next frame, Command T, and it's going to continue to rotate around. And I'm just going to repeat that pattern over and over again, okay? Now, there's a couple different ways that you could go about doing this. You could continue on here, but notice how slowly that's going, okay? One of the other things you can, like as the amount of space, one of the other things you can do is you can actually move this over, do Command T, press Enter, and then it's going to spread them out a little bit further. So depending on what you want for your animation, that might be a good option for you too. But that means that there's not going to be as much motion happening in your image. Okay? So let's finish this up. You can see them added in. Now, one thing that you can do here, let's say you want this all to repeat. You can go ahead and do Select All, and then right-click again on one of these yellow things, press Copy, then right-click again and press Paste. So now we have all of these down here. So I'm going to delete. I'm going to move this one. I'm going to move them back so then they all fit. So now I have an entire animation that's filling this entire thing. So to see how this works, press this button that's going to the first frame and just press play. So you can see that one part only moves around, which can be pretty cool, okay? So that's what you guys are going to be creating for this project. You're going to make one part of a still image of your choice move. So now, just like we did with our GIF animations, we need to save this a little bit differently by going File, Export, Save for Web, and then go ahead and just make sure that this is set at a GIF, okay? Might take a second to change. Now go to Save. And then make sure that this says GIF here. I'm just going to do Rainbow Coffee and press Save. Be patient because depending on how big your file is, it's going to take a little bit of time. Okay? And if you can't get this part to work, I'll help you with it when I get back. Okay, so if this happens, that means your file is too big, which I guess mine is. So I'm going to press OK. I'm just going to press Cancel, and we're going to try to do this another way. So the other way that we can do this is, well, the first thing that I can do is come up here to image size, and let's make this a little bit smaller. So this is really, really big. So if I go ahead and change this to 600, press OK, it's going to be quite a bit smaller. Okay, I probably didn't want to make it that small, but it'll export faster. So if I do go back here and press play, you can still see that it's moving. Okay, so we're all good there. So now as I export this, I bet this will go quick. Save for web. Okay, and now it's already set at GIF. You are going to do save, tie-dye coffee, save. And now if I go to my files, I'm going to search in Finder. Where is it? I don't know where it's saved to, so I need to look at that again. File, export, save for web. Okay. So go save. Let's see where I'm figuring. Oh, it should be in my. So tie-dye coffee. I'm going to save it to my desktop so that I know where it is. So now let me go back and find it. There we go. So now if you actually open this up in an internet browser just by going like this, so I'm just going to drag it over here, you'll actually start to see it move. Okay, which is kind of cool. So you can see that. Now if you want this to if you want this to loop, you'll need to loop it like that. I forgot to show you guys that. But that means that it'll continue to play through the rest of your file. Okay, so just make sure that if you want that, make sure to do the loop playback. Okay, so there you have it.